Thank you very much, Cathaoirleach, and thank you, and you're very welcome, Minister. Minister, this is a matter for housing, so I'm mindful of that. On the 7th of February this year, Minister O'Brien made a fantastic announcement on the steps of the Iveagh Markets on Francis Street, announcing a €9 million investment there for works to preserve the building. It would be really fantastic, except it's exactly the same announcement that was made on the 21st of September 2023 by both Minister O'Brien and Minister Noonan. From September, Dublin City Council were given the go-ahead to go to tender on the works, and the tender was due to be publicised in January this year. And there is a talk in the estimation of the length of time that it will take is somewhere up to 18 months. And I suppose the difficulties in all of this are, first of all, back in 2019, the Howley and Hayes dilapidations report for the Iveagh Markets said that there was urgency because the building was badly damaged. This is a building that was gifted to the people of Dublin by the then Lord Iveagh, or Earl of Iveagh, as a market for the people of Dublin. It has been allowed to just sit there and rot for an incredible amount of time, when in actual fact it could be an amazing tourist pull facility for the local community. It could be an amazing facility, a beautiful, beautiful building left to stand there rotting. So in 2019 it was urgent. This is 2024, and I just want to give you a little bit of a contrast. That in February 23, Dublin City Council put out a report that said that the roof could be preserved. In January 2024, in actual fact, what they want is, they note that there has been the collapse of part of the roof. So on a day-to-day basis, when we receive warnings of orange weather warnings or all the rest, we're a day away or a storm away from this entire entity collapsing, and no one along the route here has a sense of urgency. All that we're getting are political statements last September, the same one regurgitated in February this year. Meanwhile, on a day, the people that are the friends of the Iveagh Markets, James, Noel, Kim, the people that are day-to-day working and keeping this on the political agenda, protesting outside of City Hall, noting with their absolute heartache with the fact that this beautiful facility is collapsing. The other thing to note is that in the announcements for the tender, it is a two-stage tender is up for offer. One is preparing access routes and making it safe for a contractor to go in and do the actual work. Phase 2 of that, within the 18 months, is to put the premises into a place where it is ready for regular inspection and maintenance. So at the end of the 9 million expend, which I note is significantly short of the 12 million in the Dublin City Council report that it's going to cost, so I wonder where the 3 million is coming from. But in that, at the end of that facility, after 9 million being spent, we still won't have a facility that the community has access to, that the people of Dublin and the people of the Liberties in particular have access to. And so there's a false building up of optimism here that, oh yeah, this is only a few months or years away. It isn't, and that's a fact that it isn't. So I asked for a schedule of what's works, what are the next steps, what's going on, to try and establish as a matter of fact what the situation is. Thank you, Minister.
Thanks very much, Mary Seery Kearney. Minister.
Thank you, Senator, for your question, which obviously, as you pointed out, I'm taking on behalf of the Minister for Housing. You'll be aware of the Urban Regeneration and Development Fund, which is a flagship element of Project Ireland 2040, and it was established to support more compact and sustainable development through the regeneration and rejuvenation of Ireland's 5 cities and other large towns, in line with the objectives, I should say, of the National Planning Framework and the National Development Plan. And this will facilitate a greater proportion of residential and mixed-use development to be delivered within the existing built-up footprints of our cities and towns, and ensure that most parts of our urban areas can become more attractive and vibrant places in which people choose to live and work, as well as to invest in and visit. To date, there have been 3 calls for proposals under the URDF with more than €1.8 billion provisionally allocated. Calls 1 and 2 are supporting 132 proposals comprising of over 400 individual projects, while call 3 is supporting the tackling of long-term vacant and derelict properties through a €150 million revolving fund. Under Call 1 of the URDF, Dublin City Council received approval for 6 projects with a funding commitment of 18 million. Under Call 2, the funding of 174 million was provisionally allocated for Dublin City Council's 2 successful proposals, the North Inner City Concept Area, which is 121 million, and South Inner City Concept Area, 53 million. Total funding approved, therefore, under the URDF programme to date in Dublin City comes to 192 million. Under the 3rd round of funding support, Dublin City Council put forward proposals for essential preservation works to the Iveagh market with an estimated cost of 12 million. And following a detailed review of the proposal, the Department determined that the proposal was in keeping with the aims and objectives of the URDF programme. And consequently, URDF approved Dublin City Council for a 9.17 million grant for the Iveagh Market project. And the Iveagh Market, as you say, is one of an impressive collection of buildings and places donated to the city's citizens of Dublin by the Guinness family, but it is in poor condition due to a combination of neglect and damaging interventions, and parts of the building are now unsafe. So the current priority is to prevent further deterioration of this protected structure. Following completion of essential stabilisation and repair work, this significant part of the city's architectural heritage will be secured, allowing Dublin City Council to develop long-term sustainable proposals for its reuse in the future. The essential stabilisation repair works required in order to safeguard the structure for future use are estimated at 12 million and consist of the backfilling of the site, which was subjected to significant ground removal works in the past in accordance with archaeological licence conditions, conservation repairs to the roofs, valleys, internal gutters, parapet and large roof lights of the wet market and dry market, including conservation repairs to the access ladders and gantries, conservation repairs or reinstatement of the rainwater disposal system, essential repairs to stabilise the inward-leaning parapet of the north-east corner of the markets, essential repairs to stabilise the Diocletian-style arched windows and associated brickwork in the dry market, to manage vegetation growth to the site and the structures to ensure this does not further compromise the buildings, to protect and secure the windows and doors, to provide safe access to the structure, to facilitate a regular inspection and maintenance programme, and to identify and make safe any electrical connections and other utilities in the building. So the DCC apparently has appointed a full design team to manage the project, and the works will be carried out in 2 stages. Stage 1 is a minor contract for immediate stabilisation works, which will commence in March of this year and finish by early summer, and that's an estimated cost of 200,000. And then stage 2 is comprehensive repair works, expected to go to tender and to commence on site by late 2024, and that will take up to 18 months to complete.
Thank you very much, Minister. Senator Seery Kearney.
And thank you. The Urban Regeneration Development Fund is certainly a very noble, and 2 minutes of the speech are that, and that's not your fault, you're merely the messenger. I suppose I want to know when the Iveagh market is going to be actually of use to the people of Dublin, rather than stand there, because otherwise the problem is that the market, it stood there for a long time empty, for decades in actual fact, and was allowed to deteriorate. Okay, it is fantastic that it is to be stabilised, that it is to be maintained. The works that are that you outline are most certainly urgent, but we need to move on. We need to have a plan. We need to, the restoration of that market is 23 million. You yourself in the speech are saying that it is a 12 million euro project, yet the Minister announced 9 million. So there's a shortfall there. Presumably Dublin City Council are paying that shortfall, and so they should, because it's their oversight that has caused this neglect. And it's on their watch that this neglect occurred. But it is a matter of urgency, and it needs to happen yesterday. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Senator. Minister.
Thank you, Senator. We have seen something of a transformation of Francis Street recently, with fantastic public realm works which have been completed, and obviously now using these further URDF funds, the Dublin City Council will be in a position to carry out essential works on the Iveagh markets, which is a focal point of the street. But it's important to understand that the works now proposed to be carried out by Dublin City Council are not to be confused with those required to allow the building to reopen for use. So the current project scope is limited to essential stabilisation and repair works necessary to safeguard the structure. But the Minister does apparently look forward to seeing the works progress and the fabric of this beloved building restored and its future secured.